Watch, sanctuary Dems decide they don't love migrants so much after all. This is what happens when the chickens come home to roost. This is what happens when policy meets reality. This is just one of many examples of the tragic democratic platform and policies. That's why we need to get rid of every single one of them and vote for change in 2024. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. We'll talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, I'm going to get to the video clip in a minute of the hypocrisy and the 180-degree change that you see from Democrats now that their policies are finally being realized here in the United States. But when Donald Trump served as president, Democratic-controlled cities and states eagerly proclaimed themselves as safe havens for undocumented immigrants and refugees. Then Joe Biden assumed the presidency, aiming to address the border crisis. Yeah, right. However, it is evident to anyone that's paying attention that his administration did not effectively resolve the issue. Again, I think that's by design. But as border states struggle to manage a surge of immigrants, Republican mayors and governors decided to send these migrants seeking sanctuary to Democratic cities that had originally pledged to offer it, which I thought was a bold and awesome move. Spread them out. Since they want them so bad, let them take care of it. And then suddenly, the same Democrats who once proudly advertised their open arms to immigrants have altered their stance. Recently, New York City Mayor Eric Adams passionately criticized the practice of sending migrants to Manhattan as, quote, unjust, and predicted that it would, quote, harm New York City. And Governor Kathy Hochul of New York mentioned that her state has reached a breaking point. Again, these are the same people that called for sanctuary cities, which, again, I'm going to get to the clip in a minute. But the Democratic mayors of Chicago and Washington, D.C., both which take pride in being sanctuary cities, have declared states of emergency and requested federal assistance to handle an immigration crisis that had until recently primarily affected border states located hundreds of miles away. Again, it was fine when it was in someone else's state. But in 2019, Mayor Michael Hancock stated that Denver would warmly welcome individuals seeking asylum. However, nowadays, he is expressing concerns that the city's resources are stretched thin and requires support from the Biden administration, which has been hesitant to offer assistance, likely due to his reluctance to acknowledge the problem. You know, they're not going to acknowledge. To them, the border is secure. Remember, they say it's been the most secure it's ever been, and all these other lies. But take a look at this clip, and after the clip, leave your comments down below and let me know what you think about this.
Migrant crisis at the southern border is exploding once again.
It's the narrative that these are Democratic-run cities and that we don't know how to govern and that everything is chaotic.
You know, I'm proud that this is a right to shelter state, and we're going to continue to do that.
We're getting 10,000 migrants a month.
This is just unfair for cities to carry the weight of a national problem.
Join us. Let people know the true story of what New York is.
But in the streets of New York and across New York State, we've reached a breaking point.
Washington, D.C. to be a sanctuary city and to ensure that people who live here feel free to call on their government for help. I am declaring a public emergency.
We've always said we will be a welcoming city for folks who are seeking asylum in our city.
Denver and Chicago, D.C., Houston are stressed in terms of our resources. But we are stressed, and we need support from the federal government at this time.
A city of sanctuary against fear, where no one must hide in the shadows.
Today, I have issued a declaration of emergency.
We are literally full.